This video is brought to you by Gemmer.com, place where you can buy, sell, and trade collectibles of all kinds, uniquely for comic book fans and just lovers of pop culture in general. So go check it out, Gemmer.com, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Alright everyone, so much like the 2013 film Man of Steel, Dr. Pepper has teamed up with DC Comics to produce a prequel comic to Batman v Superman. Now this comic was released exclusively to fans who collected Dr. Pepper bottles and were able to scan it with the app using BlipR, and there are 5 chapters to the comic, each one focusing on a certain character that is going to be in the film. So let's just get started here. The first chapter dealt with the character of Batman and how he is different in this version. Batman takes down Firefly and some thugs, and we learn about the past character that Batman was and how he is now after the Battle of Metropolis. And I thought it was pretty cool to see Batman in action and using gadgets because he has a breath mask, like an oxygen mask, to fight against Firefly as he uses his flamethrower. And we see that this version of Batman is far more brutal than we have seen in past films, and that he actually strings up thugs and hangs them by gargoyles that are lying around the city on buildings. So that was pretty cool to see. The second chapter focuses on Lois Lane, and this is the same character that we saw in Man of Steel, portrayed by actress Amy Adams. Now this chapter dealt with Lois exposing the CEO of Hanford Technologies for selling Kryptonian tech illegally. Lois is much more hands-on in this version, and we see her interact with Clark at the Daily Planet. The ending to this chapter shows Lex Luthor getting his hands on the tech and saying that he will use it against Superman. Now this definitely sets up the stuff that we saw at the end of Man of Steel when Zod and Kal are fighting on that construction building, and this is the exact same building that we see in this prequel comic. Moving on, chapter 3 deals with Senator Finch, who is portrayed in the film by Holly Hunter. Now this chapter had the US Security Council fighting over Superman. Basically, the council is hesitant on trusting Superman, and they debate about it, going back and forth between their constituents, and we see a simulation of a Kryptonian destroying a city that is used against Superman to show what he could do if he went rogue. The chapter highlights Finch's respect and advocacy for Superman, and they really are trying to find out anything they can about him and whether or not they can trust him. And I actually like that a lot, and it seems like in the film we'll see Senator Finch be twisted by Lex Luthor. Chapter 4 deals with the Man of Steel himself, Superman, as he saves a runaway freight train carrying dozens of passengers, and a news broadcast station reports on it, highlighting the many feats that he had to do to save the runaway train. Much the while, this news station also has a debate on what role he should be in the world. Basically, they're debating on whether or not Superman should interview in foreign affairs or wartime affairs, and the news station poses a question to all of its viewers. This chapter ends with Lex Luthor watching that same broadcast and planning to pit Superman against Batman, as he has it on both of his monitors. The final chapter of the prequel comic dealt with Lex Luthor himself, and Lex makes a public announcement of his Metropolis rebuilding project at the ruins of his LexCorp building. Members of the press ask him questions about Superman, and he doesn't want to be compared to an alien he knows nothing about. This chapter ends with Lex going to a private room in his new building offices to research Superman and General Zod's body to learn more about the Kryptonian physiology and DNA. The Lex Luthor chapter is interesting because it gives us some character insight into how this Lex will be portrayed, and it seems to paint him as a much more serious and stern version that we have seen in the trailers of the film. Overall, I think this is a great prequel comic, and it actually surpasses the comic for Man of Steel because it sets up the characters in a much more descriptive way, and it gives us much more insight into how each of these characters will interact and how their stories will play into the film. Overall, I highly recommend you guys go check out these comics. I believe they're all available online right now, and I don't think they'll be necessary for enjoying Batman v Superman, but they'll certainly add to the experience. Let me know if you guys got a chance to check these comics out, and what character are you most excited to see in Batman v Superman. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down there to stay up to date on all of our latest content and to find more reviews like this. My name is Nick, and I will see you guys next time.